Okay, let's give YouTube a moment to catch up. I think I'm live, so let's just jump into this. I was going to say, if anyone who's watched my content regularly would know, but YouTube ain't my format, so no one's going to have actually watched anything. So let me just start off with saying I'm freaking exhausted. I really don't want to be doing this, but the reason I'm doing it is at 3 o'clock this morning, in the middle of trying to sleep train my son, I kept having this repetitive thought over and over again. And that is, as a mindset coach that works with all this junk behind me on the board for adults, helping people with positivity, helping them with trauma, helping with all this stuff, I really touch on what it is that I'm actually really naturally good at, that no one taught me, that I learnt by trial and error, and that because of my personality and the way I do things, I'm incredibly good at, and that is being a dad. So what I wanted to do today was something really simple, and that is just offer some really simple tips that I've found work incredibly for me as a dad, especially in the very early years. I'm talking sort of anywhere from birth, and definitely from birth up to the ages of 7 and 8. These tools will work at any point. They would be adapted slightly in the language I use, but the premise and the simplicity of them is never not going to be a positive if you use them correctly and if you use them frequently. So the reason for this and the reason I'm doing this is because I've noticed that personal development as a whole has become way too complicated. Specifically, we're talking about parenting today or being a better dad, and that is there are books and books and books and YouTube videos and experts in science, and there's all these people talking about brain chemistry and behavioral modification, and what I've realized is it's gotten out of reach of your everyday man and woman. There is way too much jargon, there's way too much talk. And the reality is I've learned from my own personal experience in life that almost every challenge I faced, when I was able to look back on it and be honest about it, I could have fit the explanation, I could have fit the tool that I need to use on one single page. It doesn't require a 60-page book. It doesn't require a 3-month course. It doesn't require you to do a hell of a lot in a massive way. What it does require you to do is do some really small things every single day, which is a lot more manageable and a lot easier for us in our busy lifestyles. So rule number 1, and this is from birth, and I'm going to tell you that as a father, this is incredibly important. All 3 of these are. But please don't underestimate the power of what I'm talking about here, and that is simply eye contact. From the moment your child is born, you need to make it your mission to spend anywhere from sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 minutes a day, spread out, 30-second intervals, a minute at a time when you pick your child up, maintaining a presence with eye contact. It's that simple. There's no more to it. Eye contact. Now, there's a side effect to this one, and it's a beautiful one that you will benefit from. And that is, I find for myself that when I maintain this eye contact with my son, I instantly start to breathe slower and I start to calm. Now, I can only assume, and I don't know what the science will be behind it, is because it is my job to protect this little man. What I do is I enter into his world and go, you know what, I have to be at peace and calm for him so he feels safe. So how do I do that? The best way you can calm yourself in any situation, and I can tell you from an African prison to being charged by bull elephants to working with lions, that the greatest way to change your physiological reaction from anxiety, fear, is to breathe. They've made billions trying to sell tools on this, and if you really want the trick, it's to breathe. So when I look at my son, the world closes down, and it is just me and him. And I breathe, and I don't know why that is. So number 1, eye contact. I cannot overstate this enough. You must find a way, and if you're uncomfortable with this, start asking yourself why. Because it's incredibly important. These challenges that come up as a father, you face, because if you don't deal with them, you are passing them on to your kids. Every time you shy away from something and you refuse to take it on, you are telling your kids it's okay to do the same. Okay, tool number 2, and it's basically I call their world. Kids live in a different world to us. Just from a physical perspective, we're bigger. What we tend to do as adults is we talk down at them. We can't help it. It's not deliberate. We're not bad people. But what we fail to realize is that they live in this special little world that we need to go into. They don't need to rush up to us. We want them to stay in that world for as long as possible. So what we need to do is get down on our bums. We need to get down into their world. Now, whether this is a playful moment or whether this is a disciplinary moment, whether it's a loving moment, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, and more importantly with discipline, get down into their world, because the respect level that you give them by doing so means that the lesson you're trying to teach them will be absorbed 10 times quicker. But any moment you can, get into their world. Now, there is a side effect to this one for adults as well. You get to be a child momentarily. Even that big gruff truck driver dad, or that guy's military, whatever you might be, you get to be that innocent child, and you get to see the world through their eyes, even briefly. Now, the more you do that, the more you're going to be a better human, let alone a better parent. So that's just a side effect of being in their world. I really wish I could click my fingers and create magic with these. Like, as I share them again here, and no one will watch them on YouTube, the power that they have to any parent, but more so I'm talking to dads today, is immense. You will change your connection and your relationship with any child of any age if you get this right. And if you want to learn how to do it with older children, please put a comment, contact me. I'll find a way to help you. Now, rule number 3 is physical contact. Understand that we are animals, whether we like it or not. Just because we use big words and we talk fancy, we are still driven by primal instinct. With my expertise working with especially lions in Africa for almost 10 years, there is a bonding experience with young cubs and a male lion. Whenever he hits the dust, every cub within earshot that will hear that thud will bolt to him and play on him and sit on him. Now, if you're a dad, you go and you lie down on the floor in your house on a rug and you watch what your baby or your toddler or even your other kids do. Their instant reaction, if they're comfortable with you and if you're not a dictator, is to instantly do the same thing that lions do. That is reaffirming their bond. It's also you reaffirming the safety that you produce. You are the protector of your household. When you get down into that world and they feel who you are, you're reminding them that you are their safe place. That's your job as dad, is to create that and to maintain it. And when you lose it, it's your job to go find it again. And if you look closely and if you use these tools, each one of them, they will produce a reminder, because they are but constantly trying to teach us. And when we're reminded and when we remember that they are our best teacher, these tools become a give and a take constantly, where not only do we get to teach them and give them the safety that they need, but they are constantly going to teach us as well. I'm going to leave it there for today, folks. Thanks very much for the space. Really enjoyed it.